Hello, my guest today is someone who's synonymous with so many feathers in his cap. It could be direction, production, could be TV films, and not to mention, he's the ad guru of India. He's created some of the best ads in the times when there was no AI. He still came up with the best campaigns, the best creatives, and the right messaging. Advertisement is all about the right messaging, and he knew how to do it at the times when no one else knew. He's also done several films, and not to mention, he's been the main champion behind Har Ghar Taranga campaign in 2022, as well as the main campaign of Mile Sur Mera Tumhara. So let me introduce to you the guest today, Kailash Surendranath. Hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you for this flattering introduction.
No, it's not
And,
flattering. It's all what you. It's
yeah.
only a little of what you've achieved, and now
Thank
we're
you,
going to
thank
hear
you.
much
It's
more
a
of what you're going to
honor
say.
to be here because I know I've seen your podcast.
Thank
You
you.
have quite a starry lineup,
Thank you.
and I'm honored to be here talking to you.
Thank you. And I was very keen. As you know, my concept has been Angie's India. And Angie's India, Angie's my name, and India is about all those who I personally believed who have put and done something proud in each of their fields. And our podcast is covering people from every state of India. So when I thought I wanted to have you was because you promoted not only our national flag in a new age generation. 1988 was also new age and now also is new age from the times of 1947, from when we got independence. The only other person who I know who championed for this was a friend of mine, Naveen Jindal, who fought for
Yes,
the national flag. And I thought that was one of a really big achievement and conscious effort from you towards our nation and nation building. Besides that, what I was really impressed also, that you did such interesting campaigns at times when nobody would have dreamt of putting a great campaign with the right messaging together. And we all, till today, remember some of those ads. Of course, I'm going to have you speak all about that. And then not to mention also what you did right with the Har Ghar Tiranga. Obviously, the government thought that there was something special about you, that both the Congress and the BJP governments only found you to put their message and their repackaging and their patriotism forward through you and your great talent.
Well, I'm always ready to do anything for the country, and it really doesn't matter which government. Although I'm very, very, very loyal to BJP today.
Yes.
But I do know that, and they're doing great work. I've dealt with the ministries off and on, and but I'd love to do anything which can enhance any side of the country,
Yes.
any kind of thought or plan or any kind of promotion which is going on today.
Right.
That's one of the specialities, and that's one of the things I'm really passionate about.
Yes. Let me know how you started this and at what age did you start your career and what made you get into production, direction. That from the start. Let's hear your story.
Now see, if I flash back, I did well in school. I was a physics and math student, science student. So and that time there used to be O levels and A
Yes,
levels. So I
yes.
did O levels,
Yes.
and then I was entitled to sit for the IIT exam, which I did. Well, unfortunately, I did go to Kharagpur to IIT, but somehow the whole vibe over there did not suit my temperament. Because I think for that period of time that I was sort of hanging around, not doing anything between school and college, I was playing in a band. I had bandmates. We were traveling, and life was like totally free. Like the sky was wide open. You know how you are at that age. You are hardly 17, 16, 17. Now to suddenly go there and find such a studious atmosphere and such seriousness, it got to me. So I left in 2 or 3 days. Came back. I was in St. Xavier's College, again doing physics and maths, continuing with the band. But my dad was in movies. He was an actor of yesteryear. He worked a lot with Mehboob Khan. His name is Surendranath. He was an actor, singer, and a star in his time.
Okay.
Around me, there were a lot of film people, a lot of film technicians. So automatically, you know what happens when you're born in that environment and you grow up in that environment, you do get interested in film. There's film talk all the time, this one, that one. And also, since he was a singer, I used to hear music all the time. There was always riyaz in the house. There were tabla walas, there were people there singing and used to do ghazals, and it was that singing of that time. But whatever it was very, very. In fact, one of his famous songs, which still I hear today on the radio here and there, is from Anmol Khedi, done by Naushad Saab, called it's called Awaaz De Kahan Hai Duniya Meri Yahan Hai. And people know that song still. That's the beauty of these old songs and the lyrics.
Beauty of these old songs. Yeah.
So that was how I really got interested in film. Then, as I was growing up, I used to watch a lot of films, both English and Hindi. And I had a lot of friends from the Film Institute, though I never really went there, from the Pune Film Institute.
Right.
And they used to come home because my brother was there studying to be an actor. And when they used to come home, they used to again only talk about film.
Films, yes.
So I used to love that. And then I started going to the film archives in Pune just to watch the old classics because there was no other access to them.
Access to them.
There was no television, no videotapes. So it was wonderful just going there and being allowed to screen what I felt like.
Right.
Japanese classics, Chinese classics, anything.
Right.
Even Indian classics.
Yes.
So there was a passion for films, I think, since that age. And as my dad stopped being a hero and became a character artist, and of course work becomes less frequent, I had to pitch in.
Okay.
For the household.
Pitch in means, for the household, yes.
Financially also for the household.
Yes.
So though I was studying, I took up making of ad films and decided I am now a producer and director. It was actually a decision without experience, without even assisting anybody. And of course, he was well known in Bombay. He knew people in business and manufacture. So he used to take me around, and I was somehow entrusted to do ads at a very, very early age.
And how old were you at that time?
I think all of 18.
Okay.
So I started doing a few ads. They were not as frequent as it became later, but at least 2 or 3 a year.
Yeah.
And that was my pitching in.
Yeah.
So that's how actually it started. And then I was learning along the way with all the technicians, with the camera people, with the editors, with the sound recorders, because technically I knew nothing.
Right.
I could just think, conceive,
conceptualize,
try and shoot.
Yes.
Then people used to talk about lenses, about composition. And that's how you're still learning. And keep learning,
Yes.
So that was my foray into films. Now, as far as national integration films go, at that age, one day we had a camera for the day and we were not doing any shooting. We'd rented it for something else.
Right.
And we had some extra raw stock.
Yeah.
So I had a thought in my mind, and there were one neighbor's child, one milkman's child, a boy and a girl. We took them into a beautiful location called Chenna Creek.
Right.
With the crew.
Yeah.
And just filmed them candid, playing. And then, put a title to it called Sita or Salim.
Okay.
And I think that was the first self-sponsored national integration film I did.
Okay.
At that age. I showed it around. My friend Suresh Bhojwani did the music for it.
Okay.
And my friend Prem Upadhyay, who's now in Nepal, he was the cameraman. I was learning from him all the time.
Right.
I was learning from the editors.
Right.
But when we showed it around, eventually Films Divisions decided to show it as a newsreel.
Right.
So I think that was my first experience with national integration.
Okay.
Then ads continued.
By then you were known already as the ad guru?
See what happened. I really got famous. I mean, I was doing ads, but I guess my career took off in advertising with Liril.
Okay.
Liril soap was a breakthrough ad of its time.
Yes.
For many reasons. The music, the editing, the style of shooting, and the very concept that there's a now girl in a bikini in a waterfall feeling freshness. Not meant to be overtly sexy or overtly revealing, but the freshness, it appealed to families, to women, to everybody. So that...
I still remember that ad, the waterfall, the girl with the yellow bikini.
It's amazing because I keep getting interviews on that and people still remember it. And that girl was a friend of mine, Karen, who was also very responsible for her performance in that, the excitement, and made her a star at that time. She's, of course, now a teacher in New Zealand.
Okay.
And I'm sometimes in touch with her on the email. But that's how it started. You know, and that was entrusted to me by people like Alec Padamsee. There was a lady there who was on the film executive called Mubi Ismail.
Okay.
Justin Decuna in Lintas.
Yes.
They entrusted me with that ad at such an early age, and then went on to do all the major products of HUL.
Right.
I did Sunsilk, I did all the detergents.
Yes.
In fact, Sunsilk is a film where I met my wife, Aarti Gupta.
Okay.
She was a model.
Okay.
And, you know, that career just took off. And I was working with all the Bombay agencies, all the Indian agencies.
After the Literal ad.
Yeah.
That is, yes.
And really busy. At that time, we were shooting almost every day.
Right, right.
Because, you know, and it was all 35mm big screen cinema shoots. So the productions had to be a bit larger than life. You know, you had to have locations, you had to have sets.
Yes.
Unlike what you see today,
Yes.
if you had stories, so much the better. But there were, you know, technique and so many things involved.
Right.
All, you know, technique I had learned in the archives, watching films. But, you know, proper cinematic techniques. The way things were edited.
Edited, yes.
The way things were shot, composed.
So did you do the editing yourself?
Yeah, I think all the films that I shoot and that I've shot, I have a preconceived notion of the editing. So rarely do I depend upon an editor to cut it. I've already thought about how to edit it. So even if there's an editor, whether it's digital editing or whether it was film editing of those days, where you actually splice and cut the film, it was always a preconceived pattern. And I think that preconceived pattern and editing also helped me a lot in my career because everything of mine had a unique editing style.
After Literal, what were the other ads you got, and what was, how did you know what to edit in those days and what not to?
To answer your first question, some of the breakthrough ads of that time, apart from Literal, as we progressed into the advertising field and over the years, I did an ad with Amjad Khan just after Sholay called For Britannia, in which it was the first time a villain was used.
Yes, for
an endorsement for children actually, which was again a runaway success. And then, you know, there was Sunsilk, in which time, the first time hair was shown, Aarti has beautiful hair, and it was shown without any special effects on it because they were not available. It was for cinema. So just with the light and with the proper brushing and of course the quality of her hair.
Right.
So many little things like that happened. I did all the Vimal ads of that time, shooting sertings, saris, which was again used for years later. Only Vimal, you know that one.
Yes.
So these things went on, and there were breakthrough ads right through the career, but there were many other ads also. Like there were food ads, so there was innovation in shooting food, extra tight close-ups, make it mouth-watering. There was cooking oils, you know, there was many things.
Right.
And I know that it was such a busy time that I must have been shooting almost an ad every 2 days.
Every 2-3 days, yeah.
Yeah. And then along came Mile Sur Mera Tumhara. Now at that time I was telling you, before Mile Sur Mera Tumhara, Doordarshan and Lok Seva Sanchar called us, me and Suresh Malik, the creative director of O&M. They said, just make something on national integration that will make young Indians proud to be Indians. That was actually the entirety of their brief.
That was during the Congress government's time.
Yeah, of course. It was in the 80s.
Yes, 1980s, yes.
So when they said that, the rest was up to us.
Yes.
So Suresh and me used to sit at home, have a drink, chat, laugh, joke, and brainstorm. So we were both into sports. I'm still quite a lot into sports, play tennis every day and everything. So the moment they said this, they said, let's use sports icons.
Right.
So we had sports stars from all over India.
Right.
And that film had a unprecedented and unexpected emotional response. I think it was released around 84, Independence Day. And there was this whole network of people Lok Seva Sanchar, Doordarshan, very, very, savvy people.
Savvy people.
Yeah.
In those days.
Delhi, yeah. And
films, yeah.
so they were really appreciating what we've done. I remember while recording this sports film, Spread the Right of Freedom, while we were recording it, I was doing the recording with Louis Banks. He made this heroic track because it was, after all, like an Olympic torch being passed,
Yes,
across the
yes.
country.
Yes.
And while listening to it, it reached the end of the film. It was edited. He was projecting it. Somehow, I realized it flows so easily into Jaya Hai, the end of the national anthem. So I told him, you go ahead and do this at the end. We did that and an alternative ending because people were very sensitive, especially government people, about distorting the national anthem. It has to be of a certain length, a certain tempo, a certain key. But they accepted it.
The one with Jai Hai.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that became a trend in all the films I did for them.
Okay.
I used that as a pattern. Because that, I think, evoked so much emotion. Apart from the fact that these were the heroes, these were the people who made India proud and hence made the audience proud.
The one with the flag.
With the flag. No, with the flag, with the
Flag,
torch.
it was called
The Olympic torch was being passed across the country. By famous tennis players, badminton,
yes.
by football, by hockey.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Whatever we were excelling in those days. The athletes, the runners. And that film is still...
It's called The Torch of Freedom.
Yeah, Spread the Light of Freedom.
Spread the Light of Freedom.
It's still got millions of views on YouTube, on my page, on their page.
Yes.
This was all about sports and winning.
Yes, it was.
And it was about making Indians proud to be Indians.
Yes.
So that's, I think, what we achieved. And I got so many wonderful comments, even from the advertising world, that after that, the subsequent year, when we were called to do Mile Sur Mera Tumhara, again, no brief, no creative brief. Just said, make one more like that, So, by these people in
So they
Lok
really
Sabha.
liked it,
Yeah.
that means, yes.
And when they said that, now we said, let's do something else. We'll do music. People love films. We'll try to get some of them.
Yes.
And again, we'll show the country. And you see, when we were doing ads, and when we do ads, even till today, especially those days in cinema, all ads were being done in 14 Indian languages.
Okay.
So they were being written and dubbed, and whether they were songs or dialogues, they were all being done in 14 Indian languages.
Right.
So that was quite a pattern for us while we were working. So when we wrote this track, there was a very famous writer called Vinod Sharma, who was an advertising writer.
Okay.
So
are there specific, sorry to interrupt, specific writers for ads and specific writers for films?
he was specific for ads.
Okay.
As a lyricist, as a writer, not for the concepts, but more for dialogue.
For the dialogues.
Because most of advertising was English speaking. So when something was required in Hindi, go-to person would be Vinod Sharma.
Right.
And he was, and him and a few others. So, even today, of course, every agency has their own language writers in every language. So once he gave us these lines, we went ahead and gave it to the language people who wrote individual lines in different languages, not translated, but got the gist of it. Then I gave that to Bhimsen Joshi ji, who, after knowing what I had done in the past with the Freedom Torch and everything, agreed immediately. He was a big star in the classical field. And of course, because he knew my dad was a singer, he knew of him. That little bit of respect, and I always fell back on that.
On that, yes.
To get some credibility, apart from
How
the work
old were
I'd
you
done.
when you did that song?
I think by the time we did that, I was around 25.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
So
when we did that, it was whoever we asked really came on. Gratis. Whether it was an actor, singer, and I had to
Who were the actors you approached first?
I think in that one of the biggest coups I thought we achieved was to get 3 big stars of that time in the same frame. There was Amitabh Bachchan, there was Mithun Chakravarti and Jitendra.
Oh yes, at those days.
Yeah, and then in between there was Hema Malini, Wahida Rahman, and there was Sharmila Tagore ji. and then there was Shabana was there, and there was a very big show on TV called Tapas, you know, which had Om Puri and so many people. So I went on the set and got them.
Right.
So some said yes, some
said.
didn't have the time, some could not do it. And whichever language you couldn't find a star to do, we would get ordinary citizens who just lip sync the song, which also became very effective.
Okay.
Like there's a Mahoot we met in Kerala when we were shooting at that Lake Periyar. You know, he's just passing by. So we called him, he was an amusing fellow rocking away on his elephant. So we said, okay, here's a song. He listened to it a few times. He said, sing it. So he did a little jig on the elephant and sang it.
And that looked very natural and
yeah. So
like
you know that
common.
way, even in Assam, in some places it was organized. Like in the Northeast, we got a whole group of people who represented all the states from the television center.
Okay.
But some people just came across and said, shoot. You know, so, and in fact, coming back to the Freedom Torch, a lot of things were being created on the spot, improvising on the location, what is available on the location and where the person is available.
Right.
Like P.T. Usha was available in Chennai, she was training. So looking around that morning, I found the IIT there very interesting, and like almost like an open space jungle. So, and when I went there, I saw some deer. So we spoke to I told the cameraman, we'll keep a very, very long telephoto lens and she'll pass by, we'll only get one take. And I'm sure the deer will start running with her and then run away. So let's try to get that in slow motion. And it happened exactly like that.
Exactly what you imagined it to.
So sometimes these, you know, things become legendary, but they happen
at the right time.
But of course, there's a bit of pre-thinking in that, but you cannot script that. So in that sense, Mile Sur also, you can't really script.
Yes.
Wherever people were available, but we managed to do the song piece by piece. After doing Bhimsen Joishi's piece, which he sang for 45 minutes.
For this Mile Sur Hamara
Tumhara. I cut it down to 45 seconds from the studio.
So the entire duration of that song was how much, which actually was the final version?
I think it's about 5 minutes, not more.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was then aired across all the television channels?
It was only,
that time there was only
Doordarshan available.
Yes.
So actually what happened was, they were showing it every day. It became so popular. And it was so loved. And because they were showing it every day, you know, they put a credit on it. It gave, apart from the fact that people loved it and it became almost like a second anthem, it gave my career a lot of boost.
Okay, yes.
So then subsequently they called us the next year for one more. They said, do one more. So this time we made it classical.
Okay.
You know, the classical, I've used all the great classical musicians and singers as well as dancers. So in that, there's a beautiful shot of Zakir Bhai playing with his dad, Allah Rakha. It started with Ravi Shankar. I mean, you see the stalwarts in that. Some are there, some are no more. But you know, every time I used to see that film, my hair stands up because I think that was really the greatest piece of art. Not popular in the sense that loved, but not popular in the sense that it didn't have the catchiness. But unbelievable.
Unbelievable,
footage.
yes.
In fact, Zakir Bhai always told me that when he teaches the students, that film he shows first.
Okay.
As what Indian music is and what Indian instruments are, because every instrument was there.
In that song which he did.
Yeah.
That's the third one.
Yeah, that's the third one.
That's not the Torch of Freedom.
So that was a
Mile
trilogy
Sur.
for these people, right? Then many years later, around 2011, 2012, Times of India called me in and they said, let's do Mile Sur Mera Tumhara again. So then we decided to do it again. The reason only being that, knowing that you can't repeat a classic, but only being that at least the song can live on for a younger audience and they identify with the younger stars.
Was there no copyright for that song?
Well, we had made the first song.
Yes.
And the copyright was with Doordarshan.
Yes.
So they sorted it out with them.
Okay.
You know, and then I did that. And that I think is also beautiful because look, Rehman opens it. Amitabh is there.
So the second version was opened by A.R.
of Mile Sur.
Okay.
There's Ehsaan Shankar Loy. Then there's all these famous musicians from each state, famous this thing. Balak Murli Krishnan was there. And in that, what happened was that nobody could say no because that film was so loved.
Right.
So I have, apart from them, I have businessmen, I remember Adi Godrej at that time. I had so many people. I had even sports stars. And I had any kind of achiever in India in that. It became 17 minutes. That was too long. Yeah, it was only shown once at 17 minutes. Then I had to, of course, cut it down to 7, 8, 9. I had classical musicians.
But who has that raw footage of that main version? It must be.
That's all with Times of India.
Oh, it's a
I mean, I have the film, I have what I've shot, but I had to hand over everything. It was assigned work, commissioned work, so I had to give it to them. Now, that was the next experience there. And then another 10 years later, Ministry of Culture calls me for Har Ghar Tiranga. Now, Har Ghar Tiranga...
How did they remember to call you? I mean,
again, they said, you made Mile Sur Mera Tumhara, you better make something better.
Oh, okay. So, competition between the two parties.
No, it wasn't parties.
And
I think it was just that, everybody... I mean, of course, times are different.
Yes.
You don't have a captive audience of one channel. There's so much clutter on TV.
Is Mile Sur Hamara Tumhara played even today? The old version and the new version?
Only on internet. I don't think Doordarshan is playing it.
Oh, Doordarshan is not
I don't know if they are.
Okay.
I don't watch, but on internet, definitely. So many views. And Har Ghar Tiranga, I had short time. My son was just back from the United States after film studies.
Right.
So I shot half the country, he shot half.
Okay.
I shot half the celebrities, he shot half. But we knew what we were shooting. We had planned it by looking at, visuals of each state, where we'll shoot, planned it to a T. And then, having the flags and having the crew. So 2 crews set out, and with a lot of help from the ministries to get in the celebrities, various ministries were involved, meetings involved everybody from Piyush Goyal to the Minister of Sports, to the Minister of Culture, secretaries. Because it was a pet project of the PMOs, Again, they were very happy with it. It can't, I mean, it's an anthem still being used. But they have a different style these days. Like there's a lot of clutter of Har Ghar Tiranga songs which they were signed here and there. So it's not, first of all, the only Har Ghar Tiranga song, anthem-wise. But still, this is the main one.
The main one, yeah.
But the campaign on the whole, which the ministry undertook, of every citizen hoisting their own flag, and this is because of your friend Naveen Jindal, I believe, he fought a case because there were such stringent laws about actually hoisting an Indian flag, when you can, how you can, and all that. It's actually every Indian's right.
Yes.
And he fought for that, he succeeded.
Yeah.
And I think Modi ji said, okay, so now every Indian
But I think that was before a law. He did it like maybe 20 years back. That when he fought for the flag.
I think he won it not too long ago.
No, it was long enough.
Okay, then people were still thinking that,
But they cashed on it basically.
Yeah.
His effort, his
so
fight,
it not only became a complete national, national movement, but it also became a huge property. That now if you think of Har Ghar Tiranga, think of Prime Minister Modi ji. And which is wonderful for him, as well as it was his brainchild.
But actually, it was in a way.
But it was his brainchild that this should be a campaign. It was funded by them. It was promoted by them. They made so many websites, where you can put a selfie of yourself with the flag. They did a lot of promotion, very well organized. They distributed flags also. So all that put together made the campaign a huge success. Our anthem, our song was a part of that.
But Har Ghar Tiranga, the fight and struggle of getting the approvals from the court was, I think, Naveen.
Maybe, yeah. I think it was him. I used to hear of it all the time.
Yes.
And, but I think Govind Mohan ji, when he was leading that ministry
Mhm.
as the secretary,
Right.
he was organizing. I could see that he was doing it so well, so efficiently.
Mhm.
The plans were so good. Everything worked.
Worked. Yes.
So I think that was a great feather in their
Mhm.
cap. That was as far as national films go.
National films go, and then when it came to all the what are the other ads besides Nirma and the other
see,
famous ones?
I've been doing animation and special effects films for Amul quite a lot till recent years for a lot of their products.
Okay.
And I've been doing some digital films for cars,
Mm-hmm.
like Evoke and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing all kinds of films.
So when you say digital films, what kind of
I mean, these were
ad
films not
yes.
meant for cinema or TV because they're long.
Yes.
So these are more films which are long form
Mm-hmm.
and which are used by the client
Mhm.
on internet, on social media,
Right.
and promoted by them.
Okay. Okay.
You know, so if you have a story, like if you have to explain a whole car,
Car. Yes.
so you want to take a minute and a half or two.
Right. Right.
We
Right.
used Shane and Falguni designers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they have that car and
Mm-hmm.
talk about design.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long form. You can't afford
Mhm.
to put it on TV.
Right.
So films like that. I've also been working as a producer with my son directing,
Mhm.
Angad Veer Surendranath,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been working as a producer with other directors as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also alongside, Aarti is a specialist
Mhm.
in helping foreign productions shoot in India.
Okay.
So we've done a lot of that, apart from shooting abroad
So
ourselves.
foreign production shoot in India means you get
Like
the whole
if they need
setup
the location,
done.
yeah.
The location,
So we give them the
setup.
full production support and we
Mhm.
become the Indian producers in that
Mhm.
sense,
Okay.
in terms of input, of work.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we are not part of the financing or the funding or anything, but the production support is very important. We give them the right technicians, the right schedule, the right efficiency
Efficiency, yes.
that they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So she's very good at that.
And what about the equipment of their standards?
Yeah, everything is available.
Okay.
Some they bring, a lot of it
Okay.
we get.
Okay.
If it's very specialized, they get it.
Right, right.
But you
right.
know, I can't think of anything much
that we
that
don't have
we would
here.
not be
Not be
available
able
here
to
in
get.
terms of production or post-production.
And who finances those?
No, those are their films. You know, like the last one was Paramount,
Mm-hmm.
which we did for Brad Pitt was the producer,
Mhm.
Plan B,
Mm-hmm.
and his wife at that time, Angela Jolie,
Right.
was the actor. It was the story about Daniel Pearl,
Okay.
which Daniel Pearl's wife wrote,
Okay.
called A Mighty Heart.
Right.
That was the last one we did. But there were many fashion shoots.
Mm-hmm.
There were many ad shoots in between, Singapore
Right.
Airlines, there's so
Right.
many. And with that director, Michael Winterbottom, there were some previous shoots with one with Tim Robbins
Okay.
called Code 46.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes on.
So those when they those were shot in India
Yeah.
and produced by Aarti Stage.
Well, production support.
Yes, production
So
support.
she becomes a.
And they give their own financing for all this.
Yeah, I mean, they pay for it.
They
They
pay
pay
for
for her
it.
services.
Yeah.
They pay the cost, obviously.
Mhm. Yes.
Cost plus whatever
Yes.
charge.
Okay. So that is taken part by you have that division as well.
As well, I mean,
Yes.
because see, the experience in filmmaking is vast.
Mm-hmm.
Any kind of filmmaking.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we can actually take on any kind of job.
Job.
My
yes.
son has recently done beautiful films for his
Mhm.
alma mater,
Mm-hmm.
Hill Spring High School.
Okay.
You know, and I think they're really nice because there were children involved and shooting
Hmm.
them candid
Hmm.
and with their various activities,
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of cuts.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of thing goes on.
Okay.
We use a lot of AI also till today.
Mm-hmm. You
But
have.
I like to use AI only, you know, we do it in-house sometimes we assign it out.
But when you say used AI, in what way?
See, what happens is I like to use it as a storyboard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to, because I still think it's unrealistic
Yes.
and it's easily tellable. We are not
Hmm.
doing deep fakes.
Hmm.
You can't do deep fakes.
Hmm.
You know, when you have, but what I find disappointing in the
Mhm.
industry is that if you have a good story to tell, of course, you cannot create a lot of emotion yet with AI. There may
Yes,
be a
you
time
can't.
when you
That
can.
I agree. Looks.
There may be a time you can. We
Hmm.
will be able to. But I find this like a lot of short endorsements
Hmm.
by, you know,
No soul in them.
Yeah,
no
unknown
realism.
and all that.
Yes.
just presence of product. Because see, what's happened is now for major channels, like say IPL's going on,
Hmm.
I don't think a client of any normal size
Right.
can
right,
afford
right.
more than 10 or 15 seconds.
Yes.
It's too expensive.
Yes.
So this is the best way, just presence
Mm-hmm.
and repeat it.
Okay.
On the internet, attention span 5-10 seconds.
Right.
So just repeat it, you know.
Right. Right. Right.
So for that, a lot of AI is being used.
Right. Right. Right.
You can also use AI if you want to make certain backgrounds
Okay. Yeah.
with real actors.
Hmm.
So maybe a huge war scene.
Oh, you can create a whole huge war scene with real actors.
I mean,
and
you
the
can
background.
use say 50 horses and horsemen in front
Hmm.
and add 1 million at the back.
But you need that for, you must be needing AI plus 3D. Or
No,
no,
3D.
only AI. AI.
You can use
Perspective.
AI and then you use compositing with that.
Mm-hmm.
You can use a combination of film techniques.
Right, right, right.
One thing which I'm proud of is that I've been always up to date with film technique
Okay.
and keep myself up to date
Yeah, okay.
by reading, by watching.
Watching, yeah.
And you know, now AI has its own purposes.
Right.
I have seen some very, very good deepfake AI,
Mm-hmm.
and some people are saying we can create a star on AI.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think a star is just what you see on the screen or on
Mhm.
screens.
Mm-hmm.
A star is someone whose persona you know,
Right,
who's
right,
a real
right.
person.
Right.
Like you know Salman Khan,
Yes.
you know what he does, you know where
Yeah.
he lives,
Yeah.
you know who his girlfriend was, or things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So and you know, okay, this is what he went through.
What he went through.
Yeah, you know what Amitabh Bachchan is, you know what he
Hmm.
went through.
Yeah.
That makes a star, apart from his great work.
Yeah.
You can't just create
Create a,
a
yes,
imaginary character on the screen who's damn good looking.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
do they look real or do they look
you can make a real looking character. A lot of still ads for fashion are
Mhm.
done on AI. They look great.
okay.
They could be fashion shoots.
Okay.
They could be, shoots done at home with real
Right.
families, real
Right.
characters.
Right.
The moment you try to make them move, and the
Mhm.
moment it's imperfect yet.
Right.
But if you use a variety of apps
Mhm.
and systems on AI
Right.
and do a little bit of trial and error here and there, you know what to use for what.
Yeah. Yeah.
You will get it as real as possible today.
Right.
And it'll
right,
get
right.
better and better,
Better
no doubt.
with time.
No
yeah,
doubt.
Yeah. So is your son more favoring AI and you not
No,
finding
he
it?
again likes to shoot.
Hmm.
But I think use it as a tool where
as
you
a
can.
tool,
Yeah.
yes, where you can use it. Also, there are also movies like all these religious movies like Mahabharata and Ramayana. And
There have
those-
been, where you don't need realism.
There you can use a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
can
AI,
use a
right?
flying horse, you can use
Yeah.
a monster, you can use a very scary
So for the
Ravan.
epics, you can use AI.
Yeah, then it's like doing animation, but it's much easier and cheaper than 3D animation today.
Yeah,
If-
AI.
Yeah, but
yes.
3D animation in some cases can't be avoided.
Avoided, yes.
So you have to understand that now today, not either this or that. It's a
Hmm.
combination of many things.
Of many things, yes.
Yeah, you need basic storytelling concept and
Hmm,
technique.
hmm,
You need the basic editing style.
hmm.
You need the basic visual style.
Right.
Then you use every technique you have available to enhance it.
Right. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But today, storytelling is again something which is not created by AI, at least in your case,
Yeah,
or
see
for
that
a good story. Or a
out
good,
of all the verticals in filmmaking,
Hmm.
concept and storytelling is something a human has to do.
Yes, that
I mean,
agree.
AI can help you there also with the
Yeah.
script.
But still,
but
it doesn't
but
look
you'll have
real.
to work
yeah.
on it. You can
yes.
either accept it or reject it or fact check it. But you need storytelling.
Storytelling.
And the style of storytelling is important. Quentin
That
Tarantino
comes
has a
from
certain
within.
style, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, in the old westerns, Clint Eastwood had a great style.
Hmm.
Hitchcock had a great style.
Great style.
Gurudutt has a great style.
Yes.
Raj Kapoor style.
Yes.
Mehboob Khan style. So there's always that personal element involved.
Right. Yeah.
Then there's, besides that, there's technique, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So then technique comes in, and then form.
Mm-hmm.
So then all that involves different tools which are available to the filmmaker.
Okay. So that is far as AI. But tell me, going in the future, what do you feel like? You have today Netflix, you have all these OTT platforms, Disney, and many others coming up. I'm sure even OTT for other TV channels would come up on other platforms, like I believe Airtel is coming up with an OTT and others are planning. So how do you feel filmmaking will change, like a normal earlier movie or an ad film created, directed, produced, and as you said, copyright and storytelling all created by humans with thought process. Like you said, you made the Har Ghar Tiranga or the Mile Sur Hamara Tumhara song with all your soul, with sitting and over a drink and putting bits of it together. Now with all this, for first it's being very cut and dry, very commercial, very to the point. How do you think that has changed?
No, I think what's happening on smaller screens, phone, iPad, computer, TV, whatever screen you can conceive, even screens of the future, they're just ways of showing something. And the human concept will remain. Human input, human stories, and creation of human stories and storytelling will remain. Even I think cinema will remain, because I recently saw this beautiful Hollywood film, Hail Mary, Project Hail Mary. So I think the streaming platforms are just one more way of getting the content to the audience, and that will include even big screen. It'll include all the screens of the future, all the screens of the past. That's not the issue here. The thing is that everything has to exist simultaneously. I don't think one can obliterate the other.
Okay.
It won't.
And what do you feel is like the future also of like the movie halls, like a PVR, Inox, all of those?
Yeah, I enjoy that. I really
the
love
experience.
Project Hail Mary I saw on a big screen IMAX. The whole film is about being in space and sort of being lost in space on a mission. The audience will get that feel. And I was thinking to myself, I would have never got this feel if I didn't have the big screen.
Yes.
Unless that immersion.
Yes.
Not that it was 3D.
Yes.
Or any special technique of projection.
Yeah.
But the very fact that it was a big screen.
Big screen.
I was there.
Yeah.
With the astronaut.
Yes. You could relate to connect with it.
If I saw it on my TV, I'd have understood the story, I'd have liked it, I'd have seen it more intellectually.
Yes.
I wouldn't have felt it the way I felt it.
So whether it's OTT, whether it's movie halls, whether it's digital or whatever. So what do you feel now? Would you, if tomorrow somebody gave you an ad and a concept to make, not necessarily on patriotism or the flag, what concept would you pick up if you had a choice?
Well,
personal
depends
choice.
on the product, But I personally, from my past work, I've seen, I work better on a larger canvas. So I like a large canvas, like maybe a nice shoot on a big location, with good actors, something like that. And secondly, I work much better without people looking over my shoulder. So a lot of times things have changed in that sense, that apart from agencies, clients, they want everything so pre-planned and so efficient that you don't have room to improvise within that. And a lot of times with networks as well. So as a filmmaker, I'm used to freedom.
You like freedom.
Yeah, and I would work well with that. But I would always choose a concept depending on what really works for a product. Is it serving the purpose it's meant to serve? And then I think about it.
Since you're an ad guru and you know positioning, marketing and how to put the right message, today everyone's into endorsements by stars or by cricketers or by celebrities. Does a celebrity really increase your sales, or can you still make a successful campaign like Nirma and Liril and all like what
Yes,
you
of
did?
course. I mean, celebrities do work.
So there it is
and there
worth
have been
it,
celebrities right through. A lot of times there were people I used who became celebrities later.
Yeah, exactly.
But celebrities do work. They've obviously researched it, and no one will spend a fortune on a celebrity.
Without celebrity.
It's just that there's a lot of clutter. So even with a celebrity, you can't dispense with idea.
Right.
You use a celebrity, use an idea, and both should stick.
Yeah, the concept, the idea and the celebrity all should go together.
Yeah, and then you work with a celebrity.
There have been movies like Bahubali and all. How were they really produced, created to get that effect? And that time I don't think so much of AI was in use there.
No, that was a lot of 3D animation, other specialized equipment,
Such as?
time-lapse cameras, so many things.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever was latest at that time,
Mm-hmm.
Bahubali, I think, was technically unbelievable
Yes.
at its time.
Yeah.
You know, some of the shots
Yes.
never seen before, not even in Hollywood.
Yes.
So there was a work of someone who was a genius.
Who
So
put that whole film together?
that was the director, the producer director.
Yes, but
Yeah.
all the special effects and the animation.
Oh, they had, if you look at the title, they had a long list of people who helped with the special effects.
Okay.
Long list of special effect houses,
Mm-hmm.
as well as people,
Internationally or
individuals.
within India?
No, Indian.
Indian.
Lot of
Okay.
Indian, yeah.
Okay, a lot of Indian.
So, I mean, there's no dearth of talent.
Yes.
All around us, there's talent.
Talent. Yes.
In music, there's great talent.
Mm-hmm.
In, acting, there's great talent. In writing.
Right.
It's just a question of,
How you put
the
it and
opportunity,
show
putting
it.
it together, yeah,
Yes.
and displaying it.
That's there. And you feel that, I mean, like tomorrow, maybe some Hollywood stars want to make a movie if our animation is so good, our special effects are so good.
It's happening already.
And India is already the future considered. So, do you see them shooting their films with our special effects?
Yeah, it's happening a lot. I mean, all the big SFX companies, they would call it SFX, special effects, are doing job work for Hollywood and internationally.
Okay.
Because, see, a lot of that also depends on man hours.
Yes.
Cost is lower. Maybe sometimes they provide design.
Right.
A lot of times they ask you for design as well.
Right.
So definitely it's happening. That's becoming a very global
Very
scene.
global scene. So you do see that happening, and it's already begun here.
It's already begun. I mean, so many companies in the south, Trivandrum, Hyderabad, even in Bombay, who are just busy with
busy
foreign
with
work.
all of this. Yes, foreign.
300, 400 employees.
Oh, really?
All doing animation.
For
Doing,
foreign films.
Yeah, yeah.
So is it because
even Indian, even foreign, but mainly foreign because I mean, it's a lot of
yes.
a lot more
Work,
money there,
money.
even though they're doing it cheaper than they do it there.
So is it because of our skilled labor and our resources are cheaper, or is it
That
because
also
that
and
they
the cost of per man hour.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
resources and the costing
Yeah.
of manpower is more cheaper according to you.
Exactly.
Okay, okay. You've also been known to have introduced the great Salman Khan to the film industry. So can you tell us how did all that
Yeah,
happen?
Salman is still a friend,
Mm.
but actually the credit of that should go to Aarti, my wife, because we were shooting for this Campa ad, which suddenly became viral again because of him.
Right, right.
He announced it as his first ad ever, first time he faced the screen.
Mm.
And we were due to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone had been cast, I needed one more swimmer.
Yeah.
So Aarti met Salman, who actually her father introduced her to,
Right.
because he was the, he was the in charge, the CEO of the Playmate Club, which was in Bandra, part of the Sea Rock Hotel,
Right.
which isn't there anymore.
Mm.
And Salim Saab and all the actors used to come there. He said, my friend's son is here, the great swimmer, just check him out since
Check
you
him
need
out.
one person.
Yeah.
And that time we weren't even married, I think. We were just about married.
Okay.
And she went, she saw this boy diving, swimming underwater. He was also going a little bit out of his way to impress her.
Yeah.
And she told me that I'm sending him to you, he's good.
Yeah.
Good diver, good body.
Yeah. So,
So
take
he
a
came,
look
yeah,
at
he
it.
came to
Yeah.
office. I thought he is a child because he was actually all of 15.
Yes.
I said, he's too young. Everybody else is towering
Much
over him.
Yeah, yeah.
But she tells you the story better. And then what happened, he almost ran away at the airport after seeing the other models.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But then she coaxed him back. And he was there. We made friends on the first
Yeah. First day.
night
yeah, nice.
in Andaman. I was shooting underwater. I was handling the camera myself.
Mm-hmm.
Again, early days.
Yeah.
And we've been friends since. We meet on occasions, but the vibe is there.
Okay, okay. So, but you actually introduced him
And
to
the
films,
sense-
or you discovered him?
No,
you
he
would
did
say?
that was the first time he faced the camera.
Camera. Okay.
Then he was fond of us as a family also.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in Alphonson College. He started staying over at my place in town a lot. He was in
Right,
Bandra.
right, right.
And then I used to give him a lot of ads.
Right.
From Limca to this.
Hmm.
So whenever he needed some money, I had to give him ads.
Yeah.
But there were other stars also like that. I used to do that with Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
I even shot for the first time with Aishwarya in a small ad
Okay.
for a tea.
Okay.
And so many people.
Mm-hmm.
So, early days, mainly models. And,
Right,
either
right,
the first
right.
launch
Yeah.
or maybe an early launch.
Right.
So that way he was there a lot and supported him.
Mm-hmm.
But, people have their destiny.
Their destiny, yeah.
And he went for an audition, maybe because Suraj saw him.
Yes.
And in one of the ads.
And told him.
And
Yeah.
Suraj liked him. And he never looked back.
Look back, yeah.
But-
it's also luck and
so-
destiny
so
to a large extent. Yeah.
In that sense, first time he faced the camera, yes. And I remember the first shot.
Mm-hmm.
It was on a boat in the Andaman.
Mm-hmm.
And
That was with Bhagyashree
honestly,
or
we had
without
been partying at
Bhagyashree?
night.
That was with Bhagyashree or without?
No. I'm talking about
Salman.
Campacola.
Okay, Campacola ad. Okay.
And when we were there, he couldn't keep his eyes open because the reflectors were strong. Those days, we were not using lights. Outdoor, we were using reflectors. So I had to tell the cameraman, don't use reflectors, there's enough light.
There's enough light. Yeah.
So he remembers that also well.
Also very
Switched
well.
it all off and he did the shot. And then we just had fun during the whole
Fun.
shoot.
Yes.
And that fun shows in the shoot.
Yeah, that chemistry always shows.
Yeah, and all good swimmers. So, we had a great time diving, swimming. Once we were swimming in an area, the Navy came and said, get out of here, there's sharks. So those kind of things were happening.
So another trick I would like to ask you, if you do a ad for a great brand, as I said, the messaging is important, the creative, the story, what you're trying to say. You said getting celebrities is important because it adds to brand value and sales.
Yeah, if you can afford it.
But if you get too large a celebrity, does it not eat away the message and you get diverted and distracted too?
Depends on the message, really.
Okay.
Sometimes celebrities are just used to hold up a product and speak.
Yes.
Or, say something quick.
Yes.
For many reasons. One is that the cost of advertising is high.
Yes.
Of actually displaying the ad.
Displaying the ad, yes.
Secondly, the cost of the celebrity is high. He's charging you almost per hour.
Right.
So he has limited time.
Limited time, yes.
So they try to simplify the idea. But if you had time with a celebrity or if you are organized with a celebrity well and you could execute an idea, even if you used green screen for all the actors around them and just shot with them, and you did it well and the concept is good, it's a double whammy.
It's a double whammy, yeah.
I remember I shot years back with Akshay Kumar, again first ad. He was already a star, but first ad. It was red and white cigarettes. Those days, cigarette advertising was allowed.
Yes.
And I was doing them, although after that, subsequently, I stopped doing cigarettes. And Kenny and all this stuff. And even fairness screens, I stopped doing.
Why is that?
Yeah, just ethically.
Yes.
So basically, Akshay gave me 15 days to do a minute ad. He was enjoying it, and he kept wanting to do his own stunts.
Yeah.
And I took him to Khandala, we took him to Film City, we made sets. And he was always there for the ad. That enthusiasm. Now people don't have that. Their shift for an ad is 4 or 5 hours. And you better finish what you can in that much.
Otherwise, it'll next
there's always
cost.
an ambitious schedule.
Yes.
Very ambitious schedule. So you finish that, work everything else around him.
Right, yeah.
And recently I shot a Goli Masala ad with Salman. We did 7 ads with him in 4 hours.
7 ads? in 4
Yeah, and
hours.
then only his portion. And then later on a week of shooting to get everything else around
everything
him.
else put together. Filmmaking is reaching high levels, as you know, and more technologies come into place. Do you think filmmaking, whether it's direction, storytelling or production, is better in Bollywood or the South?
It's a different style.
But the techniques are the same.
The techniques are the same. The technicians are the same.
Yes.
I use South cameramen all the time.
Yes.
There's interchangeable post-production houses. It's concepts really. But I think the South ads can tend to stretch reality. South films, not ads. They stretch reality much more. And it's enjoyed by the audiences.
Yes.
Whereas I think Bollywood, Mumbai.
Yes.
Try to keep it a little more realistic.
Okay.
Although the trends are again intermingling.
Mm-hmm. Again, marketing and advertisement is one of your main forte. When you have today celebrity weddings, like all the film stars getting married, do they sell their rights of their wedding day, engagement, whatever, the Sangeet and all their functions? Do you think that's a business also producers and television channels pick up?
Course,
And yes. And do you think it's something which should be kept personal or even cashed on?
Why not?
Basically?
I mean, everything is commercial
These days, yeah, exactly. So
I mean, like if a person has sold soul rights for his wedding and is going to stream on one channel and making money on it, covering the cost of the wedding, why not?
why not? You think it's perfectly fine, yeah. And in the coming years, what do you feel? What kind of campaign, like the one you did in 1988, do you feel that should come up now with the new generations, the Gen Z and all of them? Because to keep, that was a different time. That the youth of those days was different and the youth of today is totally different. So what kind of concept, if you had to create something today, would you put together? Or
No, but I still feel, when sometimes I've got a channel saying legendary ads by me.
Okay.
So on Instagram and on Facebook, I put them out, some of the big ads. Millions of views and comments. Everyone saying, why don't they make ads like this anymore? Because those are real.
They're real.
Those are big.
Yes.
They have visible production and they have concepts. So by and large, I think those were enjoyed. And if you do an ad which is also enjoyed and memorable,
Right.
nothing like it.
Nothing like it, yeah.
But there are constraints obviously because media cost is very high.
Right.
So you cannot use those lengths anymore.
Okay.
And if you do make it long and you put it on internet, on YouTube and places like that, or on your own website, then you have to work out how you're going to promote it.
Yeah.
So that's another ball game. So those constraints are there. So I mean, you have to live with the times. Everything gets constrained, and then you try to create within those constraints. Since you're doing commissioned work.
Right. I'm going to ask you another question. Is that how do you define how, if you had to portray beauty, like the Indian beauty, and take it global? How would you position it with Indian clothes, Western? What kind of after effects, what kind of face contouring, what kind of editing, how would you portray? If you had to represent your version of an Indian actress at maybe south of France or at some film festival or
I mean, judging from Western taste, the more natural the better, I think.
All the Botoxes.
Because there are natural beauties, and the whole West, in fact, India as well, and the whole East as well, the Far East. Everyone's used to seeing everything touched up, everything plastic, even faces done up.
Yes.
So nothing like natural.
Nothing that. Something natural, more natural and real. Okay. And your son is also doing films. What type of films is he and production is he doing?
Well, he's writing a feature. He's doing ads. He's doing social media. He's doing whatever he can. At the moment, he's starting off his career.
His career. How old is he?
He's just about 30.
Oh, okay.
So he's moving now.
Yes.
And he's done, he's got a little show reel, he's done, got work to his name.
Okay.
He's done a lot of good work as an assistant in the industry. So apart from going to film school in America, which he did a few years back, he's worked with almost every ad filmmaker apart from me.
Okay.
He's worked on Salman Khan's Race. He worked on 1983 with Kabir Khan. So his experience is vast.
Okay.
I think. And he understands film, he's done film.
So you see that's where he will probably go. You also directed a film? You also directed a film with A.R. Rahman?
Yes. No, I did a film called Love You Hamesha way back in 85.
Yes.
Even before that, I think. And that actually was not a pleasant experience because it was not funded properly, corporately. Although I had a great producer, Ashok Amritraj, I had another producer who was a cheat. And that man stole the negative and did some double and triple sales with it.
Oh God.
And took some tax rebates on it. before I could even finish the film.
Finish the film. Okay.
But the film was beautiful, I think,
Mhm.
and I still see it on YouTube where he put it.
Right.
And I think it was definitely ahead of its
Definitely
time.
ahead of its time.
I loved it. It had Akshay Khanna, who suddenly became a big star again. That time he had just finished Himalaya Putra and he's coming up. I had Sonali Bendre. I had another newcomer, Amitabh Nanda, good-looking boy, as a triangle. And I had Rahman's music.
So that
Now,
was a
Rahman's
big,
music
yeah.
was not done for the film. You know, he had done a big, successful Tamil film called My Maidam. And the producer cleverly bought his soundtrack and said, we'll dub it in Hindi. I was given those songs. I got them rewritten by Anand Bakshi, who's no more,
Right, right,
and a very prolific writer.
right.
And recorded them to situations in my film. And I think the songs still have unbelievable passion. Unbelievable. Dance, fashion. In fact, recently, after the success of Dhurandhar and Akshay Khanna, I posted a medley of songs, clips of Akshay dancing in that. And again, unbelievable views. Thousands and thousands of views already, you know, because people love him. And he was dancing even then.
Right. So now I've got a few insights from you on this. I'm going to ask you for a small rapid fire. If you had to decide to choose an actor of today in your ads, who would it be? Akshay, Ranbir, Kartik Aaryan, or Varun Dhawan?
I love Akshay. He's been a good friend over the years.
Yes.
If that's the answer.
No,
but of course,
the
it'll
sequence.
depend on the role.
The sequence. No, I mean like some of the, whether it's an FMCG ad or if it's for
Oh, you mean for an ad?
automotive.
Yeah.
Yes, for
yeah,
an
I
ad.
like Akshay a lot.
Akshay would be their choice, and then number 2 and
Yeah,
number
he's a
3.
friend.
Number 2 and number 3. How would you rate
Ranveer,
them?
I think. I don't know the other two.
Other two.
Yeah.
Okay. And if out of the actresses, who would you choose if you had to choose someone? Aishwarya, Madhuri, Alia, Deepika, and Katrina. To get your message across.
Yeah, I think out of all these, I love Deepika. Actually, I like Deepika, Aishwarya. Both are great friends.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. Who else did you say?
I said Katrina.
And
Alia.
Katrina is also a good friend.
Yeah. And Alia.
But I don't know the other two that well. And again, it'll depend upon what I'm saying.
What
in
you're
that.
saying,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. If you had to, as I said, if you had to, the last rapid fire, I'm going to ask you, if you had to make a film for the government today, what concept would you go for? You've done Har Ghar Tiranga.
You know, I've been asked to do anthems
Okay.
a lot.
A new
Not
anthem?
documentary style, but anthems. That means good lyrics, a song, good song, memorable, and yet convey a thought. So I have to work basically on that, on
For
what
the
they're-
country, another one?
who their audience is and what they're trying to
What
say.
they're trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not always the same.
If you had to make a film for today's generation, the Gen Z and all the different generations we have coming up, or in the what do you feel? What kind of anthem, national anthem, or a patriotic song would you put forward?
You know, you have to be with the times. So the music has to be with the times. Like for Har Ghar Tiranga, we have used DSP. DSP is the guy who did the music for Pushpa, the South film. Devi Prasad. You know, and he's given it a different, less classical and more modern feel. So that kind of thing you have to live
with. Yeah.
You know, and keep moving with that.
Okay.
Which is one of the reasons why I did Milesur again as Film Milesur. Everybody had their new arrangements. So that kind of thing you have to move with.
Okay.
You know, things have happened in the past, they're classical and they're remembered and they're respected. But we can't live on memories and on old glory.
Yeah, that's true. So it has to be something new age.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So thank you for being on my show.
Thank you for having me.
I have a small gift from Angie Homes. That's my online and furniture
Oh,
store.
lovely, yeah.
That's for you and for Aarti. And I'm definitely going to have Aarti maybe someday and also hear what she's doing with the international world and how she's bringing all those brands and making them feel comfortable in India. So that was my show with Mr. Kailash. He's been so supportive of India, promoting the flag, being patriotic and doing service to the nation. He not only made these beautiful songs and films for the country and programs like Har Ghar Tiranga and Mile Sur Hamara Tumhara, not to mention the Torch of Freedom, but he also has brought so much knowledge and to the world of advertising. He was one of the gurus, he is one of the gurus, and the knowledge he can bring to all the youth today is something special. Everyone keeps asking me that in my first 2 seasons, why have I selected and chosen to keep people who are maybe 40 plus and not the youth and the startups. The reason I'd like to tell everybody today, because today is my last episode of season 2, is that the knowledge all my 24 guests have got, being experienced and with their age, is something all the youth and all the generations to come will have to learn from. Because the youth doesn't know what India was before and where it has reached today. It's been with the success of so many people in different genres, in different fields, that has brought everything and put India today where she is today. He is one of our superstars, and that's why he's here, for what he's done for the nation, what he's done for the national flag, and not only to mention for being patriotic and keeping that alive in every Indian today. So I hope you really enjoyed the show today, and do know that all my guests bring lots of knowledge and will also bring all the knowledge to your children and grandchildren in the years to come. Look forward to seeing you in season 3 very soon.